Hello and welcome to or welcome back to my channel. My name is Marin and here you will find a little beauty, a little books, and a little teaching content. So if that sounds like something you might enjoy, I would love for you to subscribe and stick around and join me in my little corner of YouTube. Today's video is going to be my introduction to my January makeup basket and my introduction to my Pan That Palette project for 2023. So let's go ahead and get into the video. So first I'm going to go ahead and start off with my Pan That Palette project. I did a video where I talked about some options for this potential project. When did I do that? Back in November, I think. So I'll link that up in the cards, but I did go ahead and decide to go with the Naked 3 palette by Urban Decay. This is my oldest remaining palette in my collection. It is actually one of my favorites, but it is time to focus on it and give it some really good love because it's probably time for me to move this out of my collection. So I'm gonna go ahead and tip you down. I will show you what all of the pans are looking like, and then we'll talk a little bit about my goals. Okay, so here is the Urban Decay Naked 3 palette. Again, this is the oldest palette in my collection, and it is one that I love very, very much. So here is a look at the pans right now. As you can see, I already have pan in this shade right here, which is Strange, but none of the rest of them have pan, although you can see there is definitely some use. As I've mentioned, this is my oldest palette, and for a long time, this is the only palette I even owned, so it definitely was getting some good use at that point. So now I'm going to go ahead and just kind of introduce all of the shades. I will swatch them for you as well, and then we will talk about my goals. So again, we have Strange, Dust, Burnout, Limit, Buzz, Trick, Nooner, Liar, Factory, Mugshot, Dark Side, and Dark Heart. Now, the only shade that I'm a little nervous about possibly panning, actually I would say shades plural, are these two shades at the end because these are not colors that I necessarily gravitate towards. So we'll kind of just play these two shades by ear. You can see Dark Heart does have a little bit more use, if you can see that, but I don't use these two shades very often at all. So I'm a little unsure how I'll do with these two shades, but I definitely believe I can pan all the rest of these. So let me go ahead and swatch them and I will show you what they look like. Okay, so here are all of the swatches, including those two darker shades down here that I said I wasn't so sure about. This one, Dark Heart, has like a really pretty shimmer in it. I don't know if it's necessarily picking up on the camera. There you go, that's a little bit better. So I do really like that one. I just don't use it a whole ton. Here we are, starting with that lightest shade, that matte kind of bone shade. That's the one I've used the most, going all the way up. That is a look at all of the shades in the palette. So very usable, nice neutral shades. Just a little unsure about those last two, especially this gray one, which I do not feel like is necessarily the best quality. So my goal is going to be to hit pan in all of the shades except for these two. As I said, I will play these two shades by ear. If I happen to hit pan in them, that would be great, but ultimately my goal is to hit pan in all of these. I will be tracking my usage for these shades, and each month when I do my makeup basket, I will give you a little Pan That Palette update. I would love to have pan in a handful of these by the end of January, but we will just play that by ear because it does have quite a bit of product in the pans. So we will see how I do with that. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and move into my makeup basket for January. I am going to do a complete look at all of the products in my current makeup basket. This is because as I do these videos, I tend to not focus on the ones that don't change. So I'm gonna go ahead, introduce them here in January, and then as we go through the year, I will tell you what I've replaced things with as I bring those in. So I'm talking things like setting powder, under eye powder, mascara, eyeliner, the things that don't change throughout the year, except maybe like a brand here and there. So let me tip you down once again and we'll take an in-depth look at it. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and take a look at what is in my makeup basket. These are kind of the products that don't really change. So this was from December. I am gonna pull that out of here. This is not the Too Faced Peach Perfect setting powder. Unfortunately, that has been discontinued, but I did put the Beauty Bakery flour setting powder in here because I like the dispenser on this one a lot better than the one from Beauty Bakery. That one is just really obnoxious. So I went ahead and put it in here, and I am just finishing that out. So this is not a new powder. This is the same one I was using in December's makeup basket. It's just in a different container. I also still have the number 7 translucent perfect light pressed powder. I did repress this, so we are getting down to the very ends of this. I will be replacing this with the same item, so it will not really change. I will just get a new one. This is my Bare Minerals Invisible Bronze in the shade Fair to Light, which is the bronzer that I have been using. I am probably going to go ahead and keep this in for January just because I do like it, and I'm getting a decent dip in it. This was kind of domed, so I feel like I'm making nice progress. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep that one in. And then we're gonna talk about the 2 products that one of them I'm thinking probably will be done by the end of December, and that's this mascara. This is the Revolution Blowout High Volume Mascara. This is getting a little clumpy and I'm not loving it as much, so I feel like we're getting towards the end of this one. And then I do have the Benefit Roller Liner Eyeliner. Those 2 are the only ones that I have in that category, so those are going to stay in there. So that is where we are right now with what's in here. I'm also going to talk very briefly about my brow products. So I am currently using the ABH Brow Powder Duo in Ash Brown for my brows. This is kind of what we're looking like. You can see where I've been dipping the brush in, but I have been enjoying this. I ran out of my eyebrow pencil, so I've just been using this one, and I am on the very end of this Urban Decay Brow Blade. However, I have purchased a new one. So right now I'm just finishing up the little bit of ink that's left in the brush tip end because I have finished the pencil end. Then to top it all off, because the brow powder does not really have any kind of staying powder, I am using this Benefit Gimme Brow. This is in the shade 3, and it just looks like this. It's a brown brow gel. So that's kind of what I've been using to try to set my brows in place. So those are going to carry over into January as well. This is all that I've got in terms of brow products. Okay, now let's talk about some items that I'm going to kind of be playing with in the month of January. I am purposely not talking about my Project Pan items in here, so these are in addition to any items I might have with my Project Pan. So I do want to get back to using this Tarte C Hydroflex foundation. This is in the shade 14N, which is Fair Light Neutral. This is a very liquidy, you can kind of hear it, very liquidy foundation. It's a serum foundation. It used to be in a dropper, which I liked a lot better because I'm always afraid this is going to spill or like leak. So far it has not, but I would like to get a little bit more use out of this to finish this up. This is the last remaining foundation that I have in my collection, aside from the Ilia Skin Tint and the ColourPop Tinted Moisturizer. So this is the last actual foundation left in my collection, so I would like to get some use out of it. And then the only setting spray in my collection right now is this Milani Make It Last Original Natural Finish setting spray, so that will be the setting spray that I am using as well. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to pick out a blush. I am thinking of a peach blush because you will see in my Project Pan I have 2 pink blushes. So I'm kind of wanting to pick a peach one out just to kind of have to play with. So my options for peach blush are the Too Faced Papa Don't Peach, the Tarte Quirky, the Milani Luminoso, and then I also have this new Glossier Cloud Paint in the shade Beam. I have not used this, but this is also a peachy color. So I'm thinking I'm gonna hold off on this one because I have a cream blush already in my project pan. So we will save this one until I don't have that. So we're gonna come look at each of these peach blushes and make a decision. So the Papa Don't Peach has a shimmer in it, as does the Luminoso. So both of these are a little bit more sparkly. Okay, so here is kind of that peachy shade that is Papa Don't Peach. You can see this one has gotten some love. I have some nice pan in that one. So right here is that blush in Quirky. It does not have shimmer. As I said, it's just a matte peach blush. And then the last one is this Milani Luminoso blush. This is the newest blush in my collection. I picked this up last summer, I think. I really, really like how this one looks, but this one also does have a shimmer. So as you can see right here, it's got a little bit more of a sparkle. My camera's having a very hard time focusing. Sorry about that. There we go. So those are the three blushes that I'm kind of thinking about. I think ultimately I'm going to go ahead and go with the Tarte one because I do have a highlighter in my project pan. So I feel like the matte blush will be a better choice since these have shimmers in them. So I'm going to go ahead and put those back for now, and we will put the Tarte blush in Quirky in January's makeup basket. If you are curious, the other things that I have in here, I have this Milk Makeup lip cheek stick in Work, which is a pink color. It's very similar to the lipstick that I'm using as a cream blush. So obviously going to hold off on that one, although I do like the way that this one looks. And the other one is very similar. This is the Ilia Multi-Stick in At Last, which is also like a pinkish color. So those are the two other cream blushes that I've got. I'm going to definitely include them in a project pan at some point because I would like to get some really nice use out of these before they go bad. But that is my blush collection, y'all. Nothing too crazy, just some nice blushes. This one is another pink blush. This one I don't love because I need a lot of it to show up on my skin, but you can see I do have pan, so that's always something nice to have in a product. But yeah, that is the Physicians Formula Happy Blush in the shade Natural. So that's it. Those are all of my blushes. That's what I'm gonna give you a look at, and we're gonna just go ahead and put the Tarte one into my makeup basket. So there you have it. Those are the items for January's makeup basket. I feel like I have a nice mix of products here to kind of play around with and still make sure I'm focusing on my project pan items. If you are curious about my project pan for 2023, I'll link it up in the cards. You can check that out where I go through the items that I'm hoping to use in the first 3 months of the year. So there you go, y'all. That is everything in my makeup basket for January of 2023. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to my channel if you would like to see more from me, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, everyone.